Alright, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, reporting in for another unit breakdown, this time on the Fleet Troopers. And I'll talk about them, and, at some point I'm going to have to get to them, so I might as well now. And I just kind of wanted to give you a few lists, a few gunline lists that I think would be interesting with fleets, because nobody brings them, and there's a few reasons why. It's because white dice are very finicky, and they're only at range 1 to 2, and you have white dice saves and courage 1, and you only have 2 upgrade options, so for heavies I should say. So it's really tough to want to bring these guys, and a few people have them because obviously when they came out they were nice to have, and they are good backfield people, or if you have them in a bus they're great because they are going to be shooting at least 8 dice, and then if you've got a heavy that's 10, and then if you've got a personnel that could be 11. And depending on what kind of upgrade you have and how you get there, yeah, there's a lot that you can do with them. It's just you got to be prepared to have a lot of misses as well. But we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and talk about them. I will eventually have an episode where with the rest of the crew, I should say, the Shadow Command. We'll have an episode where we talk about John Wicket and Logray when he comes out, and Chewbacca as the new ATST, and everything that comes with the Ewoks, and hopefully the Battle Force information whenever it comes out a little bit more, because I kind of don't want to say, Han Solo is going to be able to be one of the best commanders for this Battle Force, because, having teamwork with Chewbacca, and Chewbacca is an ATST, being able to take an aim and then hand that over to Chewbacca, who's got Surge to crit, range 4, gun, and or 2 melee to range 2 or so guns. It's gonna be awesome. So I want to see just how everything works, and I want to kind of see more of the upgrades. Maybe with the Ewoks they have the Ewok skirmishers. Maybe they have the ones, another box that has Ewoks that kind of shoot a little bit more. There's a lot of stuff that they could do, I'm sure, that we haven't seen yet. Obviously, we don't know the trappers, and they've mentioned trappers before, and they haven't mentioned Logray yet. So I just kind of wanted to wait a little bit, but I do want to come out with a video talking about all of them. And they look awesome. It looks fun. It looks like it's going to be a really cool battle force, and I'm really excited for that Chewbacca ATST. That sounds cool, but yeah, we'll talk about that when the time comes. But first, let me go ahead and go over the Discord. If you haven't been to the Discord, head over there and, voice whatever list you have and or ideas. I keep talking about this list with, Maul, with Force Barrier and Force Push into the fray, with three Mando units, one with Rook and situational, and then the shield and rockets, and then 2 more with the generic shield and rockets, and then 4 naked pikes, and then a capo for 9 activations. Now, obviously, Maul's going to do better, if he has Force Choke on there, and that would save some points, maybe to put something else, like Inspiring Presence on Maul. So far, I found this to work and keep the Mandos alive a little bit better, and I've done really well with Hostage Exchange twice, albeit my opponent, Ryan, or Rob, was trying to try out some new lists, so yeah, I've loved it. Maul is a great commander. He's Courage 3 for the Mandos. So, and he's got, I explained everything in here. So if you haven't been to the Discord, go ahead and head over there. Sorry, guys. And if you've got hobby stuff, or you're asking questions like, how often do you deep clean? What's your process? I know that, Coghill and Albert and Alum and Vim, they all are on here. So if you've got questions, come on over. And then work in progress, if you've got something to show off, feel free to show it off. And then finished projects, I think there was some really cool stuff in here, right here, just to show you guys some of the stuff that y'all are painting. Yeah, it's just fantastic, some of the things that you guys do. So shout out to you guys. And then at some point I do, maybe on Thursday, and I'll let everyone know in Discord that, if you wanted to do the live Q&A, if you've got the Shadow Command, I'll probably announce, I might do it at 1 p.m. on Thursday or something like that. I'll put something in the Discord for you guys. But yeah, head on over there and become a member. And then if you haven't headed to my Patreon, go ahead and head to the Clan of Shadows Patreon. Become a member, support all the giveaways, which, by the way, if you are a member, if you are a YouTube subscriber and leave a comment that enters you in to win. And if you are a Discord member, I try to have you entered in to win as well, just because you guys form a great community and you guys deserve something. It's free, and it kind of just, it's nice to give back to you guys. And then if you haven't, head to the Burn Academy to subscribe for $15 a month now for the 3, 4, 5, and 6 day week workout programs, 30-minute torture program. I'm going through another certification now for glutes and, kind of lower body specifically a little bit more. And I've got, corrective exercise cert, a bodybuilding cert, a regular personal training certification, and then I'll have this one. So if you need consultations, if you have questions, feel free to message me. We can set up something. It's just, I have some changes coming to the website, but if you're interested in the $15 a month, having everything at your fingertips, go ahead and subscribe. So, back to what we're here for. So the Fleet Troopers. So the Fleet Troopers are only 40 points. There's, obviously, it's just a core unit, and they surge to hit, surge to defense. They've got white dice saves. They're obviously Courage 1, 1 health. They shoot at range 1 to 2 only with 2 white. So yeah, that's at least 8 white dice that you're rolling. And, if you really wanted to get an idea of this, so 8, and then maybe you bring the Pierce shotgun, and then, hey, maybe you say you bring a grenade, which I would highly recommend. That's 4, 5, 6. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because you surge. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's tough to kind of want to bring these guys all the time. But if you have them sitting on your table, that's only 2. Yeah, so you really, really want an aim. That's only 3. Now, there you go. If you could roll one of these, and you had the concussion grenades that have blast, so there's no cover at all, you just rolled, 3, 6, 9, 10 dice, 10 hits. That's eliminating something. So there's why you kind of want to bring them sometimes. And there was a ton of crits in there too. So it's really like, as you see, a hit or miss. So let me just go back. Sorry about that. And that is when you bring the Scattergun Trooper. Now, if you also, which I highly recommend bringing the Scattergun Trooper. Now, he's got, a range 1 to 2 as well. So you kind of have to be close. It's kind of like trying to get the Black Suns, but the Black Suns would be better only because they're rolling a black dice in there at least. Even though they don't surge, you can bring the frag grenades to surge. So there's ways to pretty much make it almost the same, but they'll be better because they have red dice saves. But this one, you've got Pierce 1, which is really nice. It's 23 points, so it's 1 point cheaper than the Black Suns, which is insane. It might as well just be 20. We'll make it 20 and make this one 15. Hopefully. But yeah, you exhaust, range 1 to 3. It's a black and 2 white, so it's not much better. This does give you blast here and impact 2, which is a little bit different than if we look at heavies from the regular Rebel Troopers units. You've got this one with impact 1 and ion 1 for 17 points, so it's 2 points cheaper. It's range 1 to 3. Just like this one, but it's got 2 red versus the black and 2 white. So you're kind of better off always taking Rebel Troopers. And I'm making a case against these for sure, and as to why not to watch this video for the most part. But some people have them, and I really do want to make use of units that are here and kind of give you at least the positives of them, as well as the negatives, obviously. But yeah, you'd probably usually go with the Scattergun Trooper, especially with the fleets. And then you could go with the Fleet Trooper. Obviously, all of these are going to be pretty good depending on what you're doing. Like, so the Astromech could be okay if you're trying to stay behind a bus. The medical droid is probably not worth it on the fleets because there's other things that you'd rather heal. But if you only have fleets and you maybe have 3 or 4 and you just wanted to use them, then obviously the medical droid. Now, the Rebel Officer is always a good upgrade. It's just 16 points, so it's a little tough because then, it's just a lot of points, and you obviously don't want to make Fleet Troopers the most expensive unit you've got, or an expensive unit. And you have the Rebel Comms Technician in case you need to give them. So, like, what you could do is they would benefit from probably emergency transponder and or maybe hacked comms unit because you're obviously getting them in close. So I think those would be the best, and then obviously HQ uplink would be good, but again, you're making them a little bit more expensive than they need to be. I think the Fleet Trooper is probably the best bet because it's cheap. And another thing that you could do is let's go over the or the gear. So ascension cables depends on what you're really doing, but I would rather just bring unhindered, maybe expert climber, but with the way climbing is, maybe ignoring this. Unhindered would be better just in case. Then electric binoculars, I wouldn't do. Emergency stims, I mean, sure, but that's 8 more points, and again, you want to keep these kind of low. Portable scanners, again, I don't see these as support, so unless you are specifically trying to support a character with these guys, then maybe portable scanners, especially since they're going to be up in the field, maybe one of your commanders is back, then sure, then you can make a case for portable scanners and or electro binoculars, but I would just use a bus instead of these two. Prepared supplies could be a really good one on them. Recon intel would be a good one on them, and targeting scopes I think would be the best on them. Obviously, you want to re-roll as many of those whites as possible, so I think targeting scopes is the way to go. But obviously, recon intel and prepared supplies are super close second and third. Now, grenades. Obviously, all of these are going to be great. You don't necessarily need the surge to crit one, per se. I like the concussion grenades because it's blast, and because you're rolling so many dice, having the extra fleet trooper throw the black, you've got your scatter gun throwing the two red, and then you're having everyone else throw their white, and with blast, again, that's awesome. Now, impact, this could be good. Maybe you have multiple units of fleets. You give maybe one the impact grenade, and if you go against some dark troopers, you've got impact, maybe impact 4, and then you have the scatter gun shoot its, and then you have the fleet trooper shoot 2 white, or maybe just have him have impact 5, and then you're rolling 5 black, 2 red. That's not the worst, and that could definitely, especially with Pierce, do some damage to some dark troopers. But you're going to need those impact grenades. Smoke grenades, not necessarily. I like smoke grenades on CAD or, anyone with low profile to give them that extra line of sight blocker just for the moment. And then sonic imploder, honestly, I'd rather just go with impact grenades or concussion grenades because those are going to be the most beneficial for what the fleets are going to do, in my opinion. Frags, okay, sure. But impact is just going to be better and or blast, and they're cheaper. And if you did have not recon intel, sorry. If you did have the targeting scopes, you're looking at just 77 points, which is pretty nice. Maybe, if you look at pikes, they're not the same at all, but I'm just trying to see, if you were to deck out something, it's still pretty cheap, so not bad. Now, that's fleet troopers, and a little bit about them. Obviously, again, they want to play close. You want to throw as many dice and have aims ready to go. Now, they have a keyword, ready 1, which I haven't talked about, obviously. But after you perform a standby action, you gain an aim. Well, standby is range 1 and 2, so you've got the perfect range for that. And then having that aim is really nice. But, having a standby is risky because you have, force push, you've got getting shot at and getting a suppression. There's, it's tough to do, and you have to have line of sight. And they don't have the ability to have Overwatch to increase their range to 3. So, yeah, it's just kind of tough to use Ready 1, but it's there. It's nice to have just in case. I'd rather have Nimble. So that's why you probably always see Rebel Troopers and never fleets, just in case you're wondering. Let's take a look at a few lists. Now, we've got Fleetwood Bus. This one has Leia and Ahsoka Tano. Leia's going to have commanding presence so that she can give out her No Time for Sorrows a little bit farther, just in case she needs to move Ahsoka a little bit farther ahead. And for somebody has to save our skins, if she winds up getting close enough at the end of her turn, so after Leia Organa activates, you can choose another friendly unit at range 1 to 2 with a phase-up order token and activate it. And if you were to use that card to give Ahsoka something, maybe if Leia was already close enough, you could technically shoot at someone with Leia, and then immediately go with Ahsoka to kind of charge in and do the rest. But yeah, that's up to you on that one. If you want Leia, you don't have to have a Leia, but I liked her coordinated bombardment as well to get rid of any strike teams or to soften up a little bit of stuff because she's got Sharpshooter 2. So they're going to have no cover, and it's just two red. You Sturge to crit. So coordinated bombardment is not bad to have, and hopefully that you've got a gun line to protect Ahsoka going in the first place, and then you also have the speeder trucks to hopefully keep as a line of sight blocker. So again, Ahsoka can stay behind them and get in without getting shot too quickly. I have a speeder truck with Ryder Azadi and the refurbished Gonk Droid, mostly for the shields and for Ryder to help your speed by 1. And the AA5 making 2 moves at speed 2, you're basically going to get halfway across the board very easily. So you'll be able to kind of get them in really close. And you'd probably want to go last with that AA5. So if you're capable of giving this AA5 speeder truck in order, maybe if we got rid of some extra points somewhere, to add HQ uplink to this, and then if you recover, then you can, go backwards speed 2 just in case you need to get the bus out of there. And it's just up to you. But yeah, maybe HQ uplink could be okay, but you'd have to get rid of 7 points somehow. Then I've got Shriv and the Unorthodox Tactician with the Backworld Medic, so a complete support bus, kind of staying back a little and going towards the middle in around like 3 or so, because you're trying to give out aims and you're trying to make sure you keep the people who are outside alive, and then you're also trying to give out some more dodges to Ahsoka and possibly your Rebel Troopers here. So there's lots of ways of giving out dodges between Leia and her take cover 2 and Shriv to help support Ahsoka and be line of sight blockers for Ahsoka. And then before Ahsoka even gets in there, you've got 2 fleet troopers with the Pierce scattergun, the extra trooper, targeting scopes, and hopefully that Unorthodox Tactician has been given out an aim to the one inside of it, and then to a few others in case you wind up rolling those blocks. And I've got one with the concussion grenades for blast to go for troopers, and then one with impact grenades because you're possibly going to be seeing armor and or dark troopers. So these guys could go after the dark troopers, and then these guys could go after anyone else. You've got the Rebel Troopers with a range 1 to 4 gun because you're going to need someone, again, to soften some stuff up. And he's got critical 1, and that's a good long range one. And then you've got your strike teams, 2 of them for range 1 to 5, again, just to try and do what they can to protect Ahsoka. And with coordinated bombardment, range 4 to infinity, and with range 4 and range 5 guns here, hopefully you're doing some damage. And then the AA5 speeder truck can rush in at the end after the speeder truck here has maybe given out some tokens to either Ahsoka, the Rebel Troopers, or anyone else like that. But you've got the AA5 possibly even go into the back objective of your opponent. So there's that. And, you've got key positions, recover the supplies, hostage exchange, and intercepts. I've got hostage and key positions because you've got the buses that can completely sit on your middle objective and or block the middle objective. And then you've got Ahsoka who can kind of keep that key position and or force push, because I've upgraded her with force push, reflexes, and then offensive defensive stance and into the fray to make sure she gets everything she needs. And recover the supplies would be good because you've also got the No Time for Sorrows. Hostage exchange could be good with No Time for Sorrows. Intercept the transmissions, maybe if you need to get on the last turn just a little bit farther and or to your opponent's back objective, you could do that. And that's why she's got commanding presence, is to be able to give out orders farther away. But yeah, this is a simple gun line / hopefully using your speeder trucks for line of sight blocking and to just kind of get your fleet troopers in there that are a little bit decked out. That's if you have 2 fleet troopers and just want to have some fun with some buses. This one, I've got the AA5 speeder truck with the hotshot pilot, the refurbished Gonk Droid, the Unorthodox Tactician for those aims, and then the quad laser. And then the hotshot pilot to have that sharpshooter 1 to kind of help the quad laser with maybe anything like the LAT and the T-47 airspeeder. I think they have cover 1, and so that sharpshooter 1 is going to negate it, and then so your impact 2 definitely goes through for sure. And or, if you are shooting at someone else and you definitely need that sharpshooter and you've got plenty of dice. So this is a good one. If you needed, you could technically go with the heavy laser retrofit for that critical one because, if heavy cover would take away these two and then you roll a blank, at least light cover takes away that heavy cover down a light, and then you might be able to get one through or two through if you have a critical and all that good stuff. So, yeah, you could technically save some points and do that. And then you've got the fleets, like I've done them before with the concussion. Like I said, since it's 3 points for practically all the other ones, or for the impact one, you could do that. And then you've got Lando with improvised orders and Hunter, because again, he's got the sharpshooter 2 and a range 1 to 3 gun with Pierce, and so getting that extra aim would be really nice, just to make sure that black hits, and so you can do as much damage as possible. And then you've got the covert op, so if you needed to infiltrate, you could, and with uncanny luck, hopefully staying alive a little bit longer. And then Boba Fett has Seize the Initiative, Overwatch, and the Flame Projector, mostly because he's going to be kind of like the guy who saves for melee. So if you have a melee threat, you have at least Boba Fett in there with Overwatch, because if he has Independent Standby, helping you strengthen that just in case you don't get orders would be really, really nice. And there's also a command card that Lando has, ace up his sleeve. So when Lando Calrissian issues an order to a unit, it can gain a dodge or a standby. So maybe if you wanted him to get a standby still, just in case he was in melee and you still wanted to give him an order, you could still give him a standby. And or you can give him a dodge just in case. But that helps to kind of support Boba Fett a little bit more. And then you kind of need Boba's Flame Projector because he has Arsenal 2. But really, he's only got one ranged and then one melee. So you're going to need to bring possibly his Flame Projector and or I have his 3-pip with the rocket so that he can shoot range 3, Pierce, Impact 2, and then Blast just in case, for any reason. But he's got Sharpshooter 2 or Sharpshooter 1. So technically, there would be no cover. Yeah, Emperor Boba has Sharpshooter 2. But yeah, Blast is going to really help with that Sharpshooter 1. And then also, Boba Fett's got some really good command cards, and then being able to, with rule with respect, maybe you use it at a point where the AA5 truck can be shooting, and so you're shooting, instead of 6? Yeah, instead of the 6, you're shooting 7 with Sharpshooter 1. And then maybe with Lando's next to you possibly, maybe you give it to him, and he has a red and 2 black at range 1 to 3, Sharpshooter 2, Pierce 1, Surge to crit. So you have a lot with there. And then Seize the Initiative, just in case you also have to use a Simple Man for the Marksman, and being able to increase his weapon's range to a maximum of 5. So this wouldn't work, obviously, because that's a command card. But, his range 1 to 3 could be range 1 to 4. And or this could be up to range 2 in case he needed it. And it's Marksman, so he'll be able to gain that aim and increase everything. Or, if he's issued an order with this card at the start of the activation phase, a unit at range 1 of Boba Fett may perform a speed 1 move. And in case you're playing, recover, or if you're playing key positions and you need to get a person in closer, then you could do that. Or if you needed to get the fleets in a little bit more. Or it says a unit, not necessarily a trooper unit. So if you needed the AA5 to do a speed 1 move, that'll definitely get those fleet troopers in a little bit faster. So that's an easy way to maneuver your fleets in. And then I've got 2 Rebel Troopers with the range 4 DLT, and then 1 with Impact 1, and it's range 1 to 2. So that's not too bad, just in case you needed more impact. And then 3 Commando Strike teams for that range 5 threat. Again, you have a gun line. So I've got, breakthrough, key positions, intercept, and recover. And that way you can kind of hopefully win on either points with breakthrough, intercept transmissions. You've got a ton of trooper units. You have 10 activations, so hopefully that helps. And then you've got key positions, and you've got, Boba Fett with his whipcord launcher to keep anyone at bay in line of sight to your entire gun line to just take them out. So yeah, there's lots of cool ways and little things to do with this. And with Recover the Supplies, again, you've got a way to get a free move in there somehow. And then with a gun line, having that extra little black dice whenever needed, especially with even the DLT 20, that'd be three black and a white critical 1. So yeah, there's lots of good ways to be able to use that with this Boba Fett. All right, and then last but not least, I have one with Luke Skywalker. I've got a regular Rebel officer with nothing attached, burst of speed on Luke, force push, saber throw, and into the fray. So if you wanted to change saber throw, you could, but he's outside of the bus, so I'm going to make him a little bit where he can do whatever he needs and not just focus on melee, just in case he can't quite get there in time. Now, with burst of speed and saber throw, you might not need both of them, because with burst of speed, you might be able to get in there a lot easier. So maybe if you wanted to change burst of speed to Jedi Mind Trick, that way, maybe if you wanted to bring his 1 pip, you serve your master well right here, you could easily do that to whoever you wanted, or, force reflexes too. And that would save you a few more points. That's just kind of up to you. But I have it to where, the medium blaster trooper could possibly fire support with Luke, and you'd be rolling 8 dice at range 1 to 2 from Luke, and it's all surge to crit. So that's a good way of being able to do a good attack with saber throw. But again, you might not need saber throw, and maybe you just change saber throw out with Jedi Mind Trick, or maybe you change burst of speed out if you want him to be a little bit more throwy with force reflexes or Jedi Mind Trick, so that way his 1 pip becomes a little bit better. And then I've got a commando strike team in there just for that long range threat, and then you've got the heavy on the Rebel veterans for that range 1 to 4 threat. And then I've got, again, another range 1 to 4, 2 Pike Syndicate foot soldiers with the Impact 1, and then the Pike's Capo with improvised orders. That way you can kind of split your army a lot, and you're not just having to get into one position. So you can flank a little bit better. You have the AA5 with Unorthodoxed and the Refurbished Gonk Droid to be able to give the Pikes and or the Rebel veterans that aim they need. And then try to move in those fleet troopers, again with the scatter, targeting scopes, fleet, regular fleet, and then the concussion grenades. There's lots of ways to get crits in this list. So if you're worried about impact or something like that, you at least have, your impact 2 built in here. You've got your fleet troopers. If you wanted to have the surge to crit, you can change out these. You don't have the points yet necessarily for it, but that's just up to you. You've got critical 2 here, critical 2 here. You've got surge to crit, impact 2 there. Yeah, there's lots of ways to be able to at least hold your own a tiny bit. But, I wanted the Pikes in there for the free dodges, and then with Luke, you're given orders with my allies the Force and Return of the Jedi. He's getting a dodge, and, with my allies the Force, you're giving out those dodges. Maybe you have Luke Skywalker, you give it to him to give him a dodge, and then maybe you've given it to the Rebel veterans who get 2 dodges at that point because they'll get an order, and defend 1 gives them a dodge, and then you give them an order with the card that gives them a second dodge. Maybe you take away improvised orders and give them situational awareness, and or if you were to take burst of speed and change that to Jedi Mind Trick, you'd have points left over, I should say, for situational awareness. But that's specifically if you want to, make it that way. And then again, I've got the fleets with that. So yeah, that's basically all of the ways to use fleets in the bus. That way they stay alive a little bit longer. At some point I will probably make a video for the land speeder, and there's lots of ways to use the land speeder, but since it's a light transport, it's open. I'm always afraid that you're going to wind up losing some of the firepower from the fleets, and I'd rather just, make this harder to kill and have a huge line of sight blocker and keep people alive a little bit more than to, go a little bit cheaper route. And this one has only armor 2 instead of armor completely. So, yeah. Alright guys, that is it. Now, we will be having a painting contest in the Discord, so go ahead and become a member for that until you get more information. And whenever we have that Shadow Command video, we'll talk about it a little bit more, and then I'll make a short little video for that, so, just in case no one has heard of it, we'll have it there. And then head on over to the Clan of Shadows, where I keep posting some stuff every now and then for you guys, and then, become a subscriber and comment down below to be able to win a $25 gift card as a giveaway. And then also head to theburningacademy.com, subscribe for $15 a month, and have 120 different recipes, at-home workouts, abs and core program, 30-minute torture program in case you're short on time, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6-day week workout programs just in case you've got the time. And then if you have questions, you can always, record your form and then send it to me, and I can look at it. But yeah, that is mostly it, guys. And yeah, that's it. So if you guys want, head on over to the Patreon, like I said, and become like these dudes, Kitsune, Emperor Atlantis, and Tyson, as well as Anthony Estrada. Thank you guys so much for all that you do and for the ability to help out with these giveaways. So I really appreciate you guys, and everyone else, y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next video. Deuce.